this? They are rolling? Okay, perfect.
Is it live?
I don't believe this is live. They're just rolling on it so then they have the sound back at the station.
Works for me.
Perfect. Sweet, sweet, sweet. Perfect. I got to ask you the same question. Can I just have you first and last name, official title, please?
Tiffany Davila, Davila, and I'm the Public Affairs Officer for the Arizona Department of Forestry and Farm Management.
Perfect. Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Did we get that first part?
Her name.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, and let me make sure they're not texting me anything. Okay, perfect. They're streaming. Excellent. Here we go. So, Tiffany, again, the last update we received was 3,500 acres and growing. Any update on containment, acreage in this fire?
No, there's no containment at this point in the fire. It's still too early. We tried to use our large air tankers early on to help support the boots on the ground, but we had to ground those heavy aircraft because of the high winds. The fire was mapped by an infrared flight at 3,500 acres. It's moving up east on some ridge tops towards the community of South Fork. We do have resources actively engaged trying to get containment line in on the east and west flanks of the fire. But again, some of that fire is in inaccessible terrain where we could have utilized that aircraft earlier today. But again, due to that those high winds, we had to ground the aircraft.
Gotcha. And then can you tell us, we know that there were structures that were destroyed in this. Any number on structures or homes or anything like that?
Not at this time. We do know there were structures destroyed in the fire in the town of Greer. But for crews at this point, their first priority, not only public and firefighter safety, but making sure that they can start structure protection. And they have been working structure protection in areas that are impacted by the fire and also areas ahead of the fire as well. They're working on getting protection into those structures right now.
And then also just talking about, we know that we were just speaking with people here in Eager that were watching as those flames seem to be moving closer. How, you said it's moving toward South Fork. How is it here in Eager? Is it also moving this direction?
Right now, it is moving east-northeast, and again, it's moving toward the South Fork area. It's hung up on a ridge line, moving east-northeast. But you know, a good for folks that are in Eager and watching this fire tonight. Fire always looks closer and larger at night, and you know we can still see the glow coming off the hilltops there behind us. But another point for everybody: there is go and set in place. There's a shelter open in St. John's. Please be mindful of your situation, the weather, stay alert of the fire conditions, pay attention to the news, because we want to make sure, you know, if we have to move forward with additional evacuations or pre-evacuations, that residents in this area are prepared.
And that was going to be my next question in regards to evacuations, pre-evacuations. I mean, those can happen is it fair to say those can happen at any time? You could be getting a knock on your door at 3 o'clock in the morning. Absolutely.
While we do our best to give the public time to gather their belongings and go from ready to set to go, and go is the evacuation status, oftentimes it's a knock on the door. We've had fires start near structures and our firefighters were going door to door evacuating residents. So be prepared, have a go bag ready, stay on top of the news, stay on top of the weather, and if you're asked to evacuate, please do so.
And I know you have a lot going on, but any idea of what started this fire?
At this time, I haven't received information as to what started the fire. We will get our resources in there to start doing some work and assessing the damage as well. But again, right now, their first priority is structure protection, public safety, and firefighter safety.
Gotcha. And then this is the other thing, is that we know, just covering, fires in the past, and I'm sure you know this too, is that some people, while they might be in the evacuation zone, decide to not leave. What kind of message would you want to send to those who decided, even though I'm in the evacuation zone, I'm still going to stay here at my home?
We can't make anybody leave. If somebody wants to stay at their property, they have every right to do so. But just know, if fire conditions change and things worsen, we have to send our firefighters back in there to get you out. So think of that as well when you're thinking of staying home and not listening to directions of law enforcement or first responders.
Gotcha. And then you talked a little bit about heading into tonight. Are we anticipating that maybe, or let me ask you this, are aircraft allowed to go up at night? Can you have those large air tankers at night?
We don't fly aircraft at night. They fly too low to the ground, so it is unsafe. And even with the, we will take tomorrow on an hour-by-hour basis. If we can launch aircraft, we will absolutely launch aircraft. But again, we do have more red flag conditions in the area tomorrow, and with that, high winds again.
Gotcha. And like we were talking about, high winds, the terrain, there's a lot of challenges that firefighters are facing in this.
Absolutely. One of the biggest challenges is the wind. 65-mile-per-hour gusts around noon today, and then the wind just kept pounding the fire throughout the rest of the afternoon and into the evening. It kind of died down a little bit, but still wind is going to be a challenge over the next few days, especially with these red flag conditions. Conditions are dry, it's been warm, so firefighters are really fighting an uphill battle right now.
Gotcha. Tiffany, I think that wraps up my questions. Anything else you want to add, anything I didn't ask you that you think would be important for our viewers to know?
I don't think so. I think we covered everything.
Gotcha. Perfect. I think we're set. Thank you so much. Perfect. Yeah, it's a little cold, yeah.
I know, I'm like,
Perfect. As far as